As the 1970s came to a close, a highly regarded lawyer in Houston, Texas, named Joe Jaworski, began experiencing what he later described in his book Synchronicity as a values-driven awakening. Spurred by a disillusionment with what he viewed as the failure of institutional leadership in the aftermath of Watergate, and inspired by John W. Gardner's work to establish the White House Fellows Program in the mid-1960s, Jaworski left his successful law practice to pursue his vision of establishing a national organization that would address the need for more skillful, more ethical, and more effective leadership on a local level.
He said, "You've got to meet John Gardner. He would love this." And I said, "Well, I couldn't even get in his front door. I mean, how am I going to do that?" And he said, he picked up the phone because he was in the first White House Fellows Program, and he was assigned to John Gardner. And he said, "John, I got somebody you got to meet." And 2 days later, I was in front of him.
In 1980, Jaworski and 17 collaborators launched American Leadership Forum, sowing the seeds for what would eventually become the ALF Fellows Program. In 1988, at the urging of Joe Jaworski, and with the encouragement of her friend and mentor, John W. Gardner, Ann DeBusk founded the Silicon Valley chapter of American Leadership Forum. And in 1989, Ann launched the very first Fellows class here in Silicon Valley. Along the way, Ann would regularly seek the input of John Gardner, finding his belief in the critical need for ALF in the region to be incredibly valuable, cementing his legacy of civic engagement, public service, and ethical leadership into the DNA of American Leadership Forum Silicon Valley.
And I called him. I asked if I should take the job. He said, "Well, if you take it, I'll give you some advice along the way, because there's no place that needs ALF more than Silicon Valley."
And so today, having recently welcomed the 46th class of exceptional individuals to this one-of-a-kind, year-long leadership experience, we celebrate the ALF Senior Fellows, who've demonstrated those values that John Gardner himself exemplified in his lifetime. And we celebrate all of you and your role in building this 850-member network of leaders as we join together to write the next chapter of American Leadership Forum Silicon Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Exemplary Leadership 2026.
Please welcome to the stage ALF Silicon Valley Chief Executive Officer and Class 15 Senior Fellow, Erica Yu.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. And thank you so much to our sponsors. Our slide will go up. I'm just so grateful to be here. I am your newly hatched CEO, having taken that job on February 1. We are so happy to be here and to honor those who are receiving the Ranstrom Award, as well as the John Gardner Exemplary Leadership Award. So they are WeHOPE and Pastor Baines, the legendary Rich Slavin, and many of us know Akemi Flynn, who you may not know, but I call her Ekamazing. I also want to thank my husband, Professor Tom Nazario, because Tom asked the operative question when I was offered the possibility of becoming your CEO for ALF SV. Tom said, "Erica, but you're retiring. Why would you do this?" But actually, he didn't really say that. He was like, "Erica, why are you doing this? You're supposed to be retiring." And it was an easy answer. I felt like I was always a square peg in a round hole. I didn't fit in, especially as an attorney, because I was in a litigation firm, and then as a judge, because I thought that I like to not speak, I like to listen. I always want to approach things with compassion, and take my time and give people time to speak in court. And so people would like, oh, she's too nice, she's too soft, and I felt like I didn't fit in. But then I was invited to join class 15, yay, class 15. And I said, these are my people. ALF is my people. That we value going slow, we value taking time, we value getting to know people, we value giving ourselves space to really honor the person we're with. We value compassion, we value leading with compassion, leading with inclusion, leading with service, and it was just an easy thing for me to decide to do. So in addition to becoming a judge, to getting married to Tom, and to being an ALF is really one of the best things in my life. I was asked by David, that's David Yarnold, our board chair, because there are 4 Davids on our board right now. I said, we need some un-David diversity on our board. I was asked by David to write about or give him some ideas of what to put in the press release. And as I did that, it occurred to me, and I hadn't seen that in myself before, that I'm the only judge in the state of California's history who has been elected to or appointed to serve in 6 really highly prestigious leadership roles in the judiciary. And that is really, in my estimation, in no small part because of ALF. Because of the way I was taught to speak to people, to approach people, to be inclusive, to learn to kind of let things go and let there be space for all sorts of different points of view, to let there be space for us to have a dialogue, to not reload like sometimes people do, but really listen, and if possible, come to an understanding and a compromise. And so, you might have seen up on the slides, one of my favorite quotes is from Einstein, and he talks about 100 times a day he wishes to give back and to have gratitude. When I was offered this position, I thought, yes, I must exert myself to give in the same measure that I have received and that I'm still receiving. And so thank you so much for letting me be here and to serve as your CEO. I want to take a moment also to introduce the president of the Great Valley Chapter. That's Charlie Nguyen, Great Valley Chapter ALF. One of the things we're trying to do is sort of have better connections among the chapters, and so I had the pleasure of going to the Great Valley dinner, and then we invited him to come to ours. So the last quote that you see is really from Chris Block, who was sort of misquoting Peter Block, but Chris Block's quote is so much better. Because it's about every time we come together, it's an opportunity to create the world we live in. And for me, this is this whole network. This is who we are. This is the impact of ALF. This is the promise of ALF. And I promise to you that I will come talk to you, I want to listen to you, and I want the good, the neutral, and the bad, because this is what we are going to create for ourselves. The reason why it's so important is because we have the same education, the same lexicon, the same understanding of how we treat each other, and we can lead those hard conversations that need to happen in our world right now. If we can't do it here, where can it happen? So this is really an extremely important moment in time, and we're all here together to meet that moment. So I want to just close with one more thought. If you are opening your emails, and if you're not, how come you're not? You will see that I've been filming YouTubes. YouTubes, get it? So, so the next thing I'm going to do is start a YouTube, and guess who's going to be in it? All of you. So let me push record. Hi, it's Erica, and this is another YouTube for ALF, and guess who's here? Thank you so much, and Kevin Cook is next.
Please welcome to the stage Sutter Health Division President, Greater Silicon Valley, Class 44 Senior Fellow Kevin Cook.
It's great to be here, and it's phenomenal really to feel as though in many ways I'm representing both organizations. I have the privilege of serving on the ALF board right now. I'm a proud member, class of 44, best class, just saying. And also representing Sutter Health this evening. And for me, both organizations have so much in common. One of the things that I took away that was most impactful for me is this idea of the A story and the B story when I was going through the fellows program with ALF. The A story, for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to go through the program, is really what you put on your CV. It's the veneer that you use as you navigate the world. It's the titles that you have, the LinkedIn page that you show that represents your accomplishments. The B story, though, is the emotional journey that you've gone on as an individual. It's your hopes, your fears, your vulnerabilities. And one of the things that was deeply impactful for me going through ALF was learning to lead from a place of deep empathy, to see other individuals for who they really are, and understanding that the most impactful leadership is the most compassionate leadership. That lifting up those around you really means understanding who they are, seeing them for who they are, and connecting deeply. And so for me, it was incredible that as part of Sutter Health, coming to an understanding that Sutter Health has an A story and a B story. Sutter Health has an A story that means that we're serving 3.6 million patients across Northern and Central California. It means the investments that we're making around the valley to improve better access to care. That's the A story. But far more important is the B story. It's one provider seeing one patient, having a very human interaction. It's that emotional connection that is established in that moment. It's not just caring for people, it's caring about people. And understanding that our providers, as they see our patients, really see them. And understand that it isn't just the clinical care that they're providing, it's the emotional as well. And that's just as impactful as the clinical portion. And so it's particularly appropriate tonight that we're recognizing one of our cornerstones, Dr. Rich Slavin. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. We all have the opportunity to carry on a legacy. At Sutter Health in Silicon Valley, one of those that we stand on the shoulders of is Dr. Rich Slavin, who was an absolute cornerstone to the Palo Alto Foundation Medical Group, who made a deep impact in this community, just as I was describing a few moments ago, one patient at a time, one interaction at a time. And he made an incredible impact on this community. It is Sutter's goal to continue that on, to continue to make an impact on this community, to improve access for care, to ensure that every patient gets the care they need when they need it. And so it is with great humility and a great honor this evening that we sponsor this event. I hope all of you enjoy the evening and have an incredible experience this evening. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
What is your name and what class are you for ALF?
Hi, I'm Akemi Flynn. I'm with class 27, sometimes known as the best class ever. I grew up in New England in a multiracial family. My father's side were descendants of the Mayflower, among the first undocumented immigrants in the US. My mother's side, Japanese Canadians. And growing up, they were really focused on teaching us values of responsibility to community, responsibility to family, to always do our part to contribute. In high school, I learned about the incarceration of Japanese Americans and Japanese Canadians. My mother, my grandmother, my aunts and uncles were rounded up, labeled as the enemy of the state, dangerous, not to be trusted, and incarcerated for years simply because they were Japanese Canadians. And since then, that made me realize that there are forces that cause some people to have opportunities and other people not to. It made me really curious to ask more questions, to learn more, to understand how things work and how we create the change so that everyone has opportunities and the rights of all people are protected. For me, the important thing about leadership is collaboration. Leadership is about building community. It's about connecting with people who we have shared values with and people who are really different. If we want to be leaders for our community, we have to welcome all voices and learn to work together across differences for the common good. When I think about ALF and our experience of bringing leaders together across sectors and across differences, the values that stand out to me that I feel like I learned are curiosity, really suspending judgment so we can listen deeply to each other and listen for understanding. Not just listen to respond, but listen for deep understanding of ideas and perspectives that maybe I never heard before because I haven't lived them in the same way. And those are values that inform and guide me in the work in the community. Just being able to show up in our full humanity, not just trying to get a win for my side, but to really respect and understand the humanity in the people who we're interacting with. I hope my impact is inviting everyone from all walks of life, no matter your title, no matter your status, to recognize that we need you. We need you. We need every one of us to be working together to build a community where we all belong, where we all have opportunities, where everyone is welcome, and we can all contribute. I am truly grateful to ALF for this honor, and I especially want to thank those who nominated and selected me. To be honored among so many incredible leaders is truly special. Thank you to ALF for the opportunity to be part of this incredible network.
Welcome to the stage, our 2026 John W. Gardner honoree and Class 27 Senior Fellow, Akemi Flynn.
Thank you so much. And did you all hear the drumming from PJ? So I am almost speechless, but good thing is I have notes and I'm old school, so I actually have paper here. But I really just want to express my gratitude to be honored in this incredible network. I'm speechless. But I also want to thank Min Lei for nominating me, so thank you. And let me also thank my family. You met some of my family members in the video, but also want to acknowledge my husband, Hindo, and also a senior fellow, right? And my kids, Mako and Koji. They are my constant teachers and guides, so thank you. So now I'd like to share what I've learned about courage. I've had, over the past year, had the privilege of working with many leaders in this room with IPEN, the Immigrant Protection and Empowerment Network. We have worked together to do all kinds of things, creating emergency response plans, supporting parents to create family preparedness plans, school readiness, passing policies, establishing policies that say city and county government will not be used for immigration enforcement, all kinds of incredible things, right? And everything we do is about inviting and inciting courage. So essentially, my job is to make courage contagious, and I'm counting on all of you to join me, okay? So courage, as we know, is not the absence of fear. We are living in terrifying times. And you do not have to watch videos from Minneapolis or Chicago or LA to understand that. We can learn from the daily courage of people right here in our own communities. For example, a Vietnamese American football coach is constantly looking over his shoulder, afraid of ICE. Years ago, as a teenager, he committed a crime. He served his time, and yet immigrants face cruel double jeopardy. Latino kids at Amigos de Guadalupe in East San Jose make plans for where they will hide their parents to keep their parents safe. Members of the Mountain View Day Worker Center go to work every day despite the risks because they need to pay rent and take care of their families. And immigrant tech workers keep their heads down, worrying about their visa status, while their CEOs are making deals with the very administration that is threatening them. So please understand that while we have not yet faced mass raids in this region, not yet, there is still incredible, traumatic, and violent ICE arrests and family separation happening in our local community, and hundreds of people have been detained, and thousands of people are living in fear and experiencing related health and financial distress. So, surviving every day under threat requires enormous courage. So what does that mean for those of us here who have privilege? What kind of courage can we bring to this moment, to this time? Grace Lee Boggs said, "You don't choose the times you live in, but you do choose who you want to be." So let's choose courage, courage for the common good. Courage comes from clarity about what's right and what's wrong, and what matters most, the dignity and well-being of all people and our democracy. So courageous leadership takes many forms. You don't have to be just like everybody else, but it always includes bold action, engaging other people, and challenging and disrupting the systems that cause harm. So what if every morning each of us woke up and asked ourselves the question, how will I be courageous? How will I lead with courage today? What risk am I willing to take for the common good? So this could include demanding changes to inhumane policies, supporting local and state solutions. It could mean volunteering for your local rapid response network or serving as a pro bono attorney. It could even mean examining and challenging ways our own organizations may contribute to this crisis, like tech for mass surveillance, or Silicon Valley corporate coziness with autocrats. So each of us needs to decide how we will use our privilege to lead with courage. And if you feel exhausted and you feel overwhelmed, let's just remember our neighbors who are facing the real threat on a daily basis and how they live with courage. And take a deep breath, reach out to someone in this room to help figure out how you're gonna plug in, how you're gonna be a leader for courage. There are so many opportunities, and we need each and every one of us. So are you in? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Paul Baines, and I am the co-founder and CEO of WeHOPE. I have the distinct pleasure of leading this organization that actually helps people create pathways out of homelessness for individuals and families within the Bay Area. WeHOPE is more than a nonprofit. It's an organization that I would consider to be a bridge. It helps people that are in a crisis mode to find stability. And so we do that in a variety of ways. We have our interim housing, our rapid rehousing programs. We have our jobs and life skill programs. We have our safe parking programs that help stabilize people with comprehensive services and case management, where we can help them navigate these challenging waters that they are in. But at its core, we help to restore dignity to the less fortunate, to the marginalized.
WeHOPE's impact on my life has been drastic. WeHOPE found me a place to be. You know, I came to WeHOPE, I was on the street at the time, doing really, really bad. I had gotten to the point to where I didn't believe that people cared anymore. They proved differently. They took the time to speak with me, they were courteous, they were always polite, they were always patient with me, and it gave me encouragement to say, hey, maybe I can live again.
WeHOPE's biggest accomplishment to me, it's about trust. Change moves at the speed of trust. And when you build trust with your community, when you build trust with funders, when you build trust with city partners, municipality partners, but most importantly, when you build trust with the clients that you serve, then you're able to move the needle synergistically, respectfully, and with a whole lot of dignity.
WeHOPE's helped me live again. I've learned how to communicate, I've learned how to trust, I've learned how to have patience, I've learned how to have hope again. WeHOPE has helped me begin to mend relationships in my life. I'm speaking with my family over the phone a lot more. Some of the most outstanding experiences in my life have transpired because of WeHOPE. Super grateful.
I am so deeply honored to receive this award. Leadership is not a solo journey. It is actually the epitome of what ALF stands for. And so to the committee, to the board at ALF, to the staff members that make it all happen, and to my fellow senior fellows, this award to me belongs to all of us because none of us is as strong as all of us, and we're better together than we are apart. So thank you, ALF.
Accepting the 2026 Greg Ranstrom Network Leadership Award on behalf of Project WeHOPE, please welcome to the stage co-founder Cheryl Baines and co-founder president, Class 16 Senior Fellow Paul Baines, right here.
Whew, that's the first time we saw the video. And man, I didn't think I was going to be up here crying. Okay, let's go. I did write down our script, so as a Pentecostal preacher, we can get a little long-winded, so I'm going to try to stick to the script here to the best of my ability. But Erica, ALF, we can't thank you enough for this tremendous honor. So on behalf of Cheryl and I, we are grateful here, and we are especially grateful to receive this recognition on behalf of our WeHOPE team and all the volunteers that make WeHOPE what WeHOPE is and what WeHOPE does. Thank you, ALF, for creating this space for all leaders, because we have so many here in the room tonight where we actually have learned and can still learn from one another. And, you know, we can challenge one another. We can stay grounded in responsibility that we carry to our communities to further the impact that we want to do to help those that are less fortunate in our communities. And it reminds me of something that Coretta Scott King has said, and I had the pleasure of meeting her when she came to East Palo Alto, that when you're willing to make sacrifices for a great cause, you will never be alone. That truth has actually shaped Cheryl and I's life and our leadership. The work serving our unhoused brothers and sisters requires sacrifice. It requires late nights. It requires attention to detail. It requires us to get engaged and involved at all types of hours. Because when people's lives are at stake, they are at stake. And we want to help change the trajectory of that life. And so the work serving our brothers and sisters, it reminds us also that none of us are doing this work alone, which is what ALF is all about. And if I had to ask you this question, what are the first three letters of the word unity? I'm asking you. You and I. You and I are the ones that's making a difference. You and I, when many hands get together, it makes the work that much lighter. And so at WeHOPE, we see every day that homelessness is not just a housing issue, it's actually a human issue. It touches health, it touches dignity, it touches safety, it touches opportunity, and it actually touches belonging. Because if you're left out there all ostracized because the society said you are no good, you feel alone. And ALF has created an atmosphere, even as leaders, where we don't have to feel alone. And the clients that all of us as leaders who we serve, they don't have to feel alone. And so our mission is to meet people in the middle of that reality with compassion, with consistency, and with hope. And many may not know this, but WeHOPE stands for We Help Other People Excel. So as they told me my time is up now, I'm going to move a little bit faster. This past year, our team has continued building programs that restore dignity in practical ways. Through Dignity on Wheels, our mobile hygiene service that we have, and we happen to be the largest mobile hygiene provider in the country. It directly goes to people who too often are without the basic access to clean water. And through our shelter and housing programs, we walk people towards stability. So through that broader work, we are not the only ones responding to a crisis, but helping create systems with other people and collaborating with other classmates in this very room where people can begin again. In my last two paragraphs, to my ALF classmates, known as the baddest class, class 16, and to my fellow leaders in this room, I believe you exude the kind of leadership in our region and what our region needs. Leadership that is willing to stay close to pain, but not be consumed by it. Leadership that listens before it acts, as Erica has so eloquently said. Leadership that understands that dignity is not something we give people, it's something we recognize, that we protect, and that we honor in everyone. So tonight, Cheryl and I, we receive recognition with gratitude, but also renewed commitment. Thank you to ALF, to my classmates, to our partners, to our board, to the WeHOPE team. Most of all, thank you to the people we serve, who remind us every day that hope is not abstract. Hope is a meal. Hope is a shower. Hope is a safe place to lay your head at night. It's a hand extended, and it's a community willing to believe that every life still has possibility. Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage ALF Vice Chair and Senior Fellow, Mika Mayo of Class 42.
There were so many Daves on the board, so Dave Babalek said, no, I think I'll pass tonight. So we are under the quota, but unfortunately he took ill, so you just have me tonight. So you all, words matter. And there are words that we need to reckon with tonight. Interim, placeholder, lame duck. Words that usually mean hold the line, don't break anything, keep the lights on until the real thing arrives. But we're here tonight because one man heard all of that and said no, and did the opposite. David Yarnold went out into this community of amazing senior fellows, and he listened. He really listened. He made people feel genuinely heard at a moment when that mattered enormously. He brought what he learned back to the board, He shaped a CEO search with intention, care, and we'd argue a journalist's instinct for exactly what this story needed next. And then in one of his most consequential moves, he recruited the very person now leading this organization. He did not hold the wheel. No, sir. No autonomous vehicles here. He mapped a better destination. David recently published a book called The Geography of Hope, Stories of Optimists who don't just imagine a better world, they map one, who take the moment they're given and turn where into something more. The book opens with a quote from Christopher Reeves, which I love. Once you choose hope, anything's possible. To close that preface, David borrowed a line that really stayed with me. You have to be dealt a great hand, but it's all about how you play it. David, you were dealt a hand that most people would have played small, but you didn't play it small. You've got a bias for action, and you took that and seized that moment. So let's take a look at a special gift that is being bestowed on David Yarnold for his interim service. I love this. Erica had them purposefully and personally engraved. Because David, you did for this organization what it deserves most, to be permanent. And because every great story deserves to be toasted, so today and all the days ahead, let's toast to David Arnold, to a Pulitzer Prize finalist and winner, a conservationist, a storyteller, and our board chair, and the most consequential lame duck that we've ever seen. So everybody, please raise your glasses to David Arnold, and may every glass be raised to reflect a world a little better than we had before it. To David Arnold.
Please
Cheers.
welcome to the stage ALF Chair and Class 12 Senior Fellow David Yarnold.
So it was this time last year that two board chairs, Heather Rangel and John Hicks, asked me to be the interim CEO, and I quickly said, hell no. And they wore me down over 2 months, and eventually I did it. But really the turning point was I asked my wife, Fran Smith, who is with us tonight, and I met at the Mercury News, where she was our medical writer and our magazine editor. And I said, what do you think? I'll have to be in the Bay Area like a week or two a month. And she said, you were never home anyway. So that was the clincher. I appreciate you recognizing me for what was, in many ways, a labor of love. I will be brief tonight. I appreciate the recognition, but you all made that year possible. You reached out to me and said thank you, and then I reached out to you and I said, will you help? I asked for your time, I asked for your financial support, I asked for your network, I asked to go to the wilderness with Class 45, who figured out where to sit tonight after about 42 emails. And you responded because you are a community. And I'll tell you what I told probably 50 candidates for Class 46. Great to see you tonight. I said, this is a community, and it is one of the best things I've ever done as an adult. And I value it that highly. And you all heard me say that, and it's why I wanted to take on that role. I want to offer some special thanks tonight for those of you who were caring and courageous enough to remind me that ALF stands for its values and not for any partisan cause. And that our mission statement says that we support all leaders for the common good. You had an extraordinary impact. You changed our CEO search. You changed the board's conversation, as Mika made reference to. And you centered us. You walked the talk about what it means to have hard conversations, the very essence of ALF, to better our community. I will always appreciate the fact that you had the guts to tell me that, and you know who you are. There are dozens of you in this room. Thank you for that. Thank you for your generosity, and thank you for giving me a chance to give back to ALF.
So yes, what is your name and what class are you in?
My name is Rich Slavin. I was in class 19 of ALF. My dad died when I was only 11 years old from a heart attack. He was a 3-pack-a-day smoker, and I did not understand the why of that happening. So that's what drove my interest in going into medicine. In my career, it's really been one of people caring for people. And I've had the privilege, the honor of having a senior leadership role in doing just that. Leading an organization that was caring for over 1 million people in Silicon Valley and trying to enhance the quality of their life and their health. As leader, I have always tried to lead by example. The most important component of leadership, in my opinion, is trust, being consistent, and encourage others to be creative and innovative and do the very best they can. And in running a large organization, I always expected directness, people working with me to be open, to be challenging, and in turn, my role was always to be supportive and assisting in whatever endeavor they were participating in. The impact that ALF has had on me personally is the fantastic opportunity to meet and become friends with a much more diverse group of individuals, really focused on providing equity and support to those in this community who are really in need. And that's very, very special to me. I hope that my legacy will be that I made a difference in the lives of my children and my grandchildren, and that I made a real difference in the healthcare facilities, organization, delivery system in this county in perpetuity. In particular, I guess I'm most proud of the wonderful leaders currently who I had some small part in mentoring and supporting. I was truly stunned when I was notified that I was this year's recipient of the ALF John Gardner Award. I have just so much gratitude to the organization and all of those who have worked so hard historically to make this organization what it is today. Thank you very, very much.
Please welcome to the stage our 2026 John W. Gardner honoree and Class 19 Senior Fellow, Rich Slavin.
It's quite an honor, and I feel quite humble for being recognized in this way. I've been very lucky in my life. I was a junior in college, and I met a beautiful young lady, my wife Sally, and we're going to be celebrating our 62nd wedding anniversary next month. And we've had a wonderful, wonderful family. When I think about ALF, I think about the phenomenal talent and enthusiasm of the leadership. And I really want to recognize the prior executive directors. I want to mention that Ann DeBusk was so very special in having conversations with John Gardner on the Stanford campus many, many years ago and starting this organization and running it for a period of time. The executive director during my time was Ann Skeet, who's sitting right next to me. And Ann is now a professor at Santa Clara University in the Marcellus Center, which I fortunate to be on the board of for 13 years. I never got to know Chris Block, but I just want to recognize you also. And I had the privilege of working for 7 years on the ALF board with Suzanne St. John Crane, and I don't know where Suzanne is, but she was very special. David has done a phenomenal job this year, and Erica, I am so optimistic about the future with you in the leadership role. Many of friends or acquaintances who don't know what ALF is have asked me, what's it all about? And my answer to that is it's really about people caring for people. And I want to tell you a little story. My buddy in ALF in my class was a fellow named Raul Lozano, who unfortunately passed away much too young a few years ago. Raul had, when he joined my class, was the executive director of the Teatro Villon in the Mexican Heritage Museum in Plaza in East San Jose. And we're up at Gold Lake. It's the second night. We're in a little platform tent, and he says to me, Rich, I think I'm going to quit my job. I've been there for 10 years, and I'm just, I've had it. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I don't know. I love gardening, and I love teaching. And that was the end of our conversation. The next night, we're in a little pup tent up on the Pacific Crest Trail, waiting to the next day go up to the Sierra Buttes fire lookout. And Raul says to me, Rich, I know what I'm going to do. And I said, okay. And he said, I really want to teach nutrition and gardening to my neighborhood and the people in my community who have some food insecurity. And I have been a gardener all my life, so this is what I'm going to do. I said, fantastic. So the next year, Raul does just that. He creates 4 by 8 foot planter boxes, which he fills with obvious soil, and creates a huge greenhouse in downtown San Jose on a vacant lot, grows from seeds vegetables, then plants them in the homes or in the vegetable boxes of those that he had worked with. The criteria to get one of these was you had to have someone in your family come and attend a 4-week class, 1 night a week, regarding gardening and healthy nutrition. And over the next couple years, Raul's company, which is called Villa Verde, a not-for-profit, built these vegetable boxes and taught over 850 families in East San Jose. So to me, this is what ALF it's all about. It's really people caring for people to enhance the quality of life in our community. And I know that everyone in this room, in some way, shape, or form, has been doing the same thing. I retired 10 years ago, and part of the joy of retirement has been reading. I just never had enough time to read. And so I had 3 book clubs for a couple of years. It's down to just 2 now. And in fact, some of my buddies, John, Rob, Phil, Tony, are here tonight, and I appreciate you being here. Guys tend to like nonfiction, although our book for next month is Frankenstein, which was written in 1818. And about a week ago, I read a quote that I want to read to you now, because it kind of ties things together for me. And this was written by a kind of an activist historian who was a professor in Boston, a guy named Harold Zinn. And I'll just quote, "To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, and kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. If we do act, in however small a way, we won't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents, and to live now as we think humans should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory." So thank you very, very much for this honor, and I think the evening may be near over. I'm not positive.
Please welcome back to the stage, Erica Yu.
Thank you so much, and congratulations again to WeHOPE, Akemi Flynn, and Rich Slavin. And Rich, by the way, I didn't realize he's a futurist, a mind reader, because we are almost over. But but he also stole my thunder a little, because I wanted to end, as we look toward the future, by honoring the past CEOs, and we're so lucky to have each one of them here. I won't repeat what Rich said, but Ann DeBusk, who started ALF Silicon Valley. Ann Skeet, who was the CEO when I went through and is sort of my personal guide. Ann is my guide and my light. And Chris Block, who's my heart. Chris Block, who started the urban classes and who we quoted, and just really is somebody that just really motivates me, with whom I resonate. And Suzanne St. John Crane. Who leaves me big shoes to fill. So I look forward to the future. We'll look to each of you for guidance, to tell us how we can do it differently, better, or the same. As a new CEO and a new COO, we probably are super excited about being here. So we went a little overboard about all the ALF swag, from the pins to the pens, to all the cookies, and then these 3D printed little statues of our logo. These are all available for you to take, and if you want a logo and you didn't get one, my card is on the table. Just email me and I'll get you one. But the price will be a chat with me as I continue my listening tour of all of us here at ALF to make us bigger and better. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Good night.